So guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel and thank you so much for watching this video today. If you are new guys, do not forget as usual, subscribe and make sure you turn on the notification bell. Please, the first thing you need to do for me is to like this video, alright? So that I can get recommended by YouTube. Now, I know you clicked on this video because you want to know if you can actually study for free in Norway and of course, work as an international student. It is very possible, all right, to study in Norway for free and as well study as what am I saying? And as well work as an international student. But hey, you have to understand that studies in Norway, working in Norway are two different things, all right? As a student, you may not be able to work full time. As a student, you can only work part time. But if you move to Norway with your spouse, all right, your spouse is able to work full time. Okay, it is also possible like that. I know some people will ask me, is it possible for me to move to Norway with my spouse or my wife or my husband? Yes, it is very possible. In as much as you have the required funds, all right. You may have watched a video I did about how to move to Norway with your spouse or your family or your children. And I mentioned so many things. I don't know if you watched the video before this or you will watch after this, but know that it is possible. Okay. Now, also understand that it is very possible for you to secure a job in Norway after you finish your academic degree. But I said but because there are conditions you need to fulfill. First, you must graduate, all right? That is the first condition. And again, you must not owe any bank in Norway, all right? Most people don't know these things, but it is very possible. Now, for you to study and work in Norway, all right, you can get a master's degree, study a bachelor's. Let me start from the lowest ranking. A bachelor's, a master's, or a PhD degree in Norway, all right, for free. And as a matter of fact, Germany and Norway are the two countries I know in Europe that offers free education in their public universities. Okay, so if you are looking for countries where you can study for free, understand that Germany and Norway can give you this let me say this opportunity. And again, understand that the fact that you are studying for Norway for free, all right, not for Norway, for free now in Germany and Norway doesn't mean that you are not going to need proof of funds when you want to apply for a student visa. Remember, as an African, as a Cameroonian, a Nigerian, a Kenyan, a Ghanaian, a South African, you need a student visa to move to Germany or Norway. For Germany, it is the national visa. For Norway, it is called the student residence permit, all right? But you all need this to move to these countries to study. Now, if you must apply for the visa, or if you are to apply for the visa, you have to show some certain amounts of money. For Germany, it's 10,236 euros. No, it has increased a little bit, all right? The figures has gone up a little bit. Or you need an affidavit of support, all right? The bank, let me say the blocked account is the first thing you need, or the affidavit of support. But the blocked account, you are creating the account in a bank in Germany called Fiti Bank, all right? For Norway, you are putting the money in the school account, all right? And the money for Norway is a little bit more higher than that of German schools, all right? Or what the German officials will ask you, all right? I hope you are getting the point. So that is how the differences work. Now, to study in Norway, understand, like I said before, you can only study in public universities in Norway, all right? Because private universities are going to charge you a tuition fee and probably it's going to be very high. So search for schools which are free tuition, public universities I mean. In Norway, there are a lot of them. You have the University of Stavanger, the University of Bergen, the University of Oslo, all right? NTNU, all right? You also have Norwegian University of Science and Technology. You also have another school, the University of Tromsø. There are a lot of them, all right? Again, now remember I said you can study a bachelor's, a master's, and a PhD. Not all these universities I just listed have programs for bachelor's degree, all right? English taught bachelor's programs. Not all the universities have them. No university have programs in English language for bachelor students, and almost the majority of them has or have programs for master's and PhD level, all right? Now, again, a very important thing you should note is that when you want to study in Norway, all right, I would suggest that you start by searching the schools. When you find the schools, look for schools that are far away from big cities, all right? For example, the competition at the University of Oslo is going to be a little more higher than a school like Norway University, all right? Though Norway University is still going to be very more competitive, but you should understand that requirements and sometimes competition is a little higher in schools like the University of Oslo, school in, let me say, bigger cities, all right? Remember, Norway is one of the biggest cities in Oslo is one of the biggest cities in Norway, and of course also very expensive. So you should be running away from expensive cities. You should not be running away from let me say, renowned cities, because admissions is competitive, and of course the proof of funds that will be asked on your admissions letter for you to submit the money into the bank in Norway is going to be more than some other cities. What I'm trying to say is, if you get an admission in the University of Oslo and somebody gets an admission at the University of Tromsø or the Norwegian University of Science and Technology, you guys are not going to get the same amount to be transferred to the account given to you by the universities, because the person in Oslo is going to have a higher figure, all right, than the other person. This is because the living standards in Oslo is a little more higher than this other city, all right? So you now get the point. Now, again, understand that when you are looking for schools to study in Norway, you have to look at the requirements, all right? Requirements are usually not the same. For example, if you are applying for the University of Oslo, look at the requirements, admissions requirements now, I mean. Normally, if you want to, let me say, take a bachelor's degree program, you are going to provide just your high school qualifications. For Nigerians, all you need is your WAEC, if you are WAEC certificate, and for someone like a Cameroonian, you need just your ordinary levels and your advanced levels certificate. Someone from Liberia also need what is called the WAEC or WSS certificate. Ghanaians, you also have your own, basically just high school certificate. Now, when it comes to English proof or English language proficiency, normally someone from Nigeria is not supposed to show proof of English, all right, because your primary language, or let me say the language in your country is, or the language you guys speak in your country is English, and probably a Kenyan or a Ghanaian or a South African as well. But a Cameroonian, you may have to provide the language test like IELTS or TOEFL. All right, some people always ask me if they can always provide this. You will always find this at the university's website, saying that the medium of instruction is going to be English. Therefore, you have to provide a document like the IELTS or the TOEFL. All right, sometimes some universities will tell you that you should show a document from your university to show that you have been studying in English language. But when you provide these documents, sometimes for Norwegian or to Norwegian universities, they will not accept. All right, they prefer people who have the IELTS certificate already. All right, like I always tell most of my subscribers that you having the IELTS is advantage you. All right, because remember, you are applying to a school where you are not going to be paying tuition fee, so the competition is high. You as an Africans will be applying with people from the United States and UK, because they are also running away from high tuition fee to study for free. Therefore, remember, someone from USA and UK has an advantage over you coming from Cameroon, because the primary language in the United Kingdom is English, and of course in the United States, so they will give them more priority regardless of how qualified you guys are. So you have to take this into qualification, into consideration. All right, that is why, to stand a chance to get admissions into most of these Norwegian schools, not as if I'm saying that it is the requirements are not good, but I'm just telling you that having IELTS is putting you up in a better place, all right, or it's going to secure an admissions for you fast if you do not have the paper, all right. But notwithstanding the fact that you can't try, again, pay attention to the fact that Norwegian schools don't need a lot of students, all right. There was one time I applied to the Norwegian University of Applied Sciences. I got the admissions, all right, but I was placed on the waiting list. Then after some time, the admissions team told me that they have dropped me. The reason because I never had the IELTS, all right, at that particular point. And when my IELTS came in, they said there is someone ahead of me with a better score. All right, so that is what I'm explaining all these things for you. And they needed just 10 people for that program, that particular program I applied for in that year. So not all the programs need a lot of people. Some will need 30 students and others will need maybe 20 or 15 students. So that is what you should understand, all right? And admissions in Norwegian universities usually take place between September, October, there is a university, I think Eastern Norwegian University. It is found somewhere in Eastern Norway. All right, they start from around the 15th of September. All right, but most schools in Norway will start their admissions, the applications for admissions around October 1st to December 1st. That is usually the deadline for most schools. NU, Norwegian University of Science and Technology, Norway University, the University of Tromsø, a lot of them, the University of Oslo. Then a few other universities like the University of Stavanger, the University of Bergen, will have certain programs that will start, or let me say that the admissions will close maybe early January. A school like the University of Stavanger usually starts from January to around the middle of February, all right, to the end of February, all right. You can always check the University of Stavanger for those of you who wants to apply for programs like economics related or social sciences. All right, but if you are looking for a science program like biotechnology, biology, bioengineering, you can always apply between October 1st and December. Again, understand that, like I said, requirements vary. People coming from Cameroon, Uganda, Ethiopia, Kenya, sometimes you may be required to tell your university to transfer your transcripts, all right, to the university you are applying for. An example is the NTNU, all right. And I think another one is the Norwegian University of Science and Technology. They will always ask you to tell your university, after you uploading the document online, the online application, it is called Sonak Webs, all right. They will then tell you, or you will even read from the requirements, that you have to tell your university to send your transcript directly to them in Norway, all right. You are not the one mailing the transcript. If you mail, they will not consider it. All right, so that is what you should understand. Requirements vary per country, and even if you look at some requirements for some certain countries, like countries in Asia or Middle East like Lebanon, China, Pakistan, they have a different procedure. All right, so that is what you should understand, that Norwegian schools, they are usually very strict. All right, and another advantage you can have when applying to schools or for schools in Norway is that you can apply for up to 3 programs in certain universities like Norwegian University of Science and Technology, but others you can take just one. All right, I think Norway University also has an advantage because you can take up to 2 or 3 programs. A lot of the schools in Norway, like Oslo, you can take at least 3 as well. Will always ask you to select multiple programs or more programs. Again, pay attention to the fact that when applying for schools in Norway, some schools may ask you to upload a copy of your finance, all right, or let me say proof of funds first at the application stage. Then, after you get the admissions, they are now going to give you a bank account to transfer the required funds inside. First, remember you are applying for these schools and they are asking you to submit a statement to show that you have money, all right, in an account. So you now take the bank statement from your bank and upload to the system. Now, if you get the admissions, they will still ask you to transfer that required amount you told them at the application stage that you have it in your account or your sponsor have it, all right. Then you will now transfer the money, physical cash, into the account they are giving to you. Then provide them with a receipt, all right. Until after you do that, before they will provide documents for you to apply for the visa. If you do not do exactly as they say, I'm sorry to tell you that you would not apply for the visa. All right, the reason they want to do this is because they know that your admissions is free or your program is free. Therefore, you will need some money to pay your accommodation, transport yourself, feed yourself, and stuff like that, and of course your insurance, or probably do your student permit or your student residence permit. All right, from that money. And again, understand that when, even if you borrow this money, a lot of people will borrow this money or take loans and submit the money, or let me say put the money in the account. Understand that if you borrow this money from people or from individuals, when you arrive in Norway, they will give it to you, all right? It is your money, but you will not receive this money at once. After you arrive in Norway, you go to your school, you register, you get documents, you do your residence permit, your student residence permit. You will now create your own bank account, or they will give you an account or direct you where to create an account. And of course, when you do that, the remaining money will be transferred. All right? Nobody is running, so don't be scared. All will be transferred into the account. And now, but understand that you have restrictions, all right? You do not need to decide. Probably they will have already, the banks already know, all right? They will never accept a proof of funds, or let me say proof of funds from your home country or elsewhere. it must come from Norway, all right, until you transfer the money before you can apply for the visa. So they will never accept money coming from let me say bank statement coming from other places. No way. That is how it is, all right. And again, like I said, programs differs, all right, and admission requirements differs. For example, if you are applying for a program like Sustainable Development, all right, and NTNU, or if you are applying for a program like Biology at Norwegian University of Science and Technology, pay attention to the fact that you should, for example, if you are applying for Biology, you should have, let me say for master's degree level, all right, if you want to study biology at the master's level, you should understand that at least you should get biology knowledge from bachelor's, all right. Do not be looking at bachelor's or let me say master's in biology. If you want to apply for master's in biology, you shouldn't be coming from the literature section, or maybe you have studied something like philosophy and you want to now apply for biology. No, it cannot work that way, and you will never get the admissions, all right. You can apply for something like psychology if at all you have studied something like linguistic. It is understandable. Or if you study something like law, be looking at law, all right. Do not study philosophy and you are going to law. No, they do not have any correlation. Even if they have a correlation, it will be difficult, because remember, someone is also coming from maybe Uganda or Ethiopia or Senegal or maybe Bahrain or Slovakia applying for the same program, whereas that person has law for the bachelor's level, all right. So if the person is applying for masters, they will obviously take the person because he has knowledge about the program at bachelor's level, all right. So that is what you should understand. Always apply for something that correlates, and understand that deadline varies, all right. Like I said, countries have different requirements, so when applying, understand that it is going to be different for you, all right. Some schools will purposely ask you to provide, like the University of Oslo, they will always ask you band score 7 for IELTS, all right. But some other schools, like the school I told you always start in September, I'm forgetting the name, I will link in the video description box, around September 15, they will always ask you for like 5.5 or 6. But Oslo, when Oslo says 7 is 7, all right. So always follow the instructions, and I think this should be the end. And like I said before, if you are moving to Oslo or to Norway, know that as a student you will work, all right. And if you work in Norway, it is going to be very, like I said, you will get this, all right, because some people are always scared. There are countries in Europe that you do not need to ask if you are going to work or not. For example, if you are going to Europe, check if the country is a developed country or not. If you notice that it's a developed country, don't even bother asking anybody if you are working or not, because there are jobs waiting for you as an international student. But just make sure one thing: follow the duration you have to work, because there are limits. Like in Finland, you cannot work more than, is it 20 or 25 hours? I can't remember. For Germany, you also have limitations. I don't know if it's 15 or 20, because sometimes immigration laws changes, all right. Then for Norway, you also have limitations. Make sure you follow limitations. You may think that you are hiding and working, but at the end of the day, the immigration may just call you. This is not Africa. Remember, you're going to Europe, all right. So things are a little different that way. Then I think this should be all about everything you need to know. I will be bringing more updates about again, before I forget, admissions is not open now in Norwegian schools, all right. So if you intend to study in Norway, prepare yourself, look at the requirements, look at the documents, so that as soon as October is around the corner, you launch your application as fast as possible, all right. Remember, like I said before, students from United States and all over the world are also applying, all right, and their degrees are somehow powerful. Not just that they are powerful, all right, everybody stand equal chances of getting even a scholarship, free education as well. But try to be smart and apply as fast as possible. Some schools will normally take first come first serve basis, all right. You never can tell, so just be smart and fast, all right. Until we meet again in another one. Peace.